And welcome back to the ACE Football Academy. I am Coach Dunham, joined as usual, Coach Hamilton. Today, we have really an off-the-wall topic where we're going to discuss coaching nightmares, what we're calling this. And really, it's just odd encounters, weird situations on the field, whether it be in games, on practice, some kind of encounter that you've had. And today, we're going to be talking to Coach Hamilton about how he had a recent situation with a ref that really just had it out for you a little bit, it sounds like. I don't know if you ate his Wheaties or told his mom to get out of the way. I don't know, but clearly this ref didn't like you. But there's a lot of parts to this story that even though we get frustrated and irritated, we can kind of look back and laugh at it a little bit and joke around. But the thing about this is sometimes it can be a nightmare because the girls are having to deal with this mess. You're having to coach around this mess. Your parents are on the sideline saying, what on earth is going on here? Type of a situation. So, Coach, I'm going to lay it over to you. And as you go on through your story, I might stop you and ask a few questions about what you're thinking, what was going on, what your team manager doing, and we'll kind of go from there. So, Coach, why don't you get the ball rolling on what happened with you over the weekend here?
So I will be very transparent, and I will answer every question you want. I'm going to do leads and things like that because these are still clubs that we are involved in, and this is a situation that has not even been settled yet, at least as of this recording.
We'll get more into that.
Yeah, the story. So, we play a club in our division who is just under 2 hours away from us, and you play them home and away. So, what we've started doing with this club is, what we attempted to do with this club, at least the last fall and this spring, and we will. As, again, we'll mention later on, we are never doing this again. But we attempted to make things easier and say, okay, you all will play us in a doubleheader at our place in the fall, and then we'll come to your place in the spring and play a doubleheader. It just cuts down on the driving. You got to make that. It's about an hour and 45, hour and 50-minute trip. So it's just a little shorter. You got to make it one time, and then you're done. So that's how this double header, so to speak, came to fruition. And we show up, and I will preface this with it is two very good teams. My 2011s are very solid. We are second in our league. We're playing the team who is first in our league. They've played a few more games than us, so our girls are pumped up. They're saying, hey, when we leave this weekend, we're going to be in first. I kind of challenged them at practice all week. We played 3 games this past weekend, one on Saturday and then the doubleheader on Sunday. So, I have said, hey, opportunity to secure 9 points here. Mm-hmm. We play Saturday. We play fantastic soccer. We blow the team out that we play on Saturday. So we are rolling. Fast forward to Sunday, we make the drive, we show up, everything is fine, we have a solid warm-up, the first game gets underway, and it is pretty immediate from the start that the game's going to be physical. But it's also pretty immediate from the start that it's going to be good soccer. Both teams, I think, had chances in the first 10 minutes. It's not one of those things where they had parked the bus and were pounding their goal, or we've parked. It is back and forth. It's up and down the field. At one point we kind of got into a groove where we're playing 4 or 5 minutes down in front of their goal, and then it shifts, and we play 4 or 5 minutes down in front of our goal, and so it truly is. For U13, it's really good soccer, and you can clearly tell that it's two good teams. And so I have a winger who is a really solid player, but at U13, she is taller and stronger than a lot of other U13 players that we play against. And she gets called. Early on in the match, she gets called for 4 or 5 different fouls that haven't been called on her all season, and it's no big deal. And as you and I have talked in the past, I'm trying to be a better coach and leave the officials alone. So, and I do, like, I'm in this first game, and again, we'll dive into the second game in a bit, but in this first game, I really am, coach, gonna pat myself on the back. I am proud of myself for how I handled what unfolded. But she gets called for a couple fouls, and finally, about the third one, I do vocalize that is not a foul. And that's all I say. And the head coach of the team we're playing kind of like looks over at me and kind of smiles, and I kind of make my way, sometimes you do in a match that is with, coaches and people that you get along with. He and I kind of meet at halftime or meet at midfield, and he's like, my girl, and he points at his girl who has the same build as my player, and he says she gets called for those all the time too, and it has nothing, it's not a foul. They're just bigger, they're just stronger, and so it looks like a foul sometimes. And so he and I kind of laugh it off, and we go back. But as the first half unfolds, it becomes very clear that the officiating is not equal, so to speak. And there are some instances where free kicks are given, throw-ins are given, fouls are, officiating is officiating, and they're going to miss calls and things like that.
Of course.
But what kind of started to get under my skin was the center started overruling the AR on multiple, and just little things, throw-ins. Like nothing major, nothing big.
Okay.
But, he'd point to our ball, and the AR or the center would overrule and go, no, we're going the other, we're going white. So I'm like, okay,
when he was doing this, was it an in-between kind of call, or was it like, what? That doesn't make sense.
Great question, and I will be full honesty. There were several across the field, so I can see what I think I see.
Gotcha.
But there were two that happened on my side of the field. One that happened right in front of me, and the one that happened right in front of me was very clear. It was our ball, and he gives it to the other team, and we play, and I just kind of tell my girls, hey, just play, back up, turn around, play, mark up, let's go. And then there's a call right at the beginning of this. So we go to halftime, 0-0. We come off. My girls mention at halftime, Coach, their fans are riding. They're riding it. I'm like, they're riding you. Like, what do you mean? You 13 girls, you want to get to the bottom of things.
Yeah.
What do you mean they're riding you? Well, they're telling me we suck, and they're telling me, every time I do something, they're screaming, get your hands off her, and just things like that. So nothing major. I didn't like the fact that one of my girls was told that she sucks. That bothers me.
That's a problem.
But I'm like, hey, okay, then we just got to play. Let's go prove to them that we don't suck, and let's go win the game.
Let me ask you about that. When somebody's, I'm trying to replay this in my head. Like when a player says, a parent on the other team said, I suck, my first response is, okay, did they actually say you suck, or are you paraphrasing here?
That's a great question, and I didn't ask that follow-up question. Sure. I didn't at the time. I honestly think my response was, okay, well, let's go prove to them that we don't suck. Let's go win this game.
Yeah, moving on, keep positive. Yeah. Got a game to play.
And so we open the second half, and we've been playing for about 4 minutes. I mean, short amount of time.
Mm-hmm.
And my striker, who, anytime that I don't start her, she's like, hey, why am I not on the field? Like, it's not like she's this passive person. She's always like, why, what's going on, coach? Mm-hmm. She raised her hand, she has to come off. And so I'm like, that's weird. What's happening? So we sub, she comes off, and she comes off the field, and as she's coming across the field, I see the tears start to come. So she comes over, and, first thing I do is just hug. I'm like, hey, what's going on? And she shakes her, she's like, shakes her head. So I kind of grab her. I'm like, hey, are you hurt?
Right.
Are you hurting?
Yeah.
And she said, she just shook her head. So I'm like, all right. So she goes and sits down. We play. I give it about 90 seconds. Walk over, sit by her on the bench, and I say, hey, what's going on? And she says, I can't play with their parents.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And so I'm like, all right, talk to me. And she's just like, they're cursing. They're screaming at me. They're telling their players to shove me. I can't. She goes, can I play on your side? Can I play on the coach's side? I'm like, all right. I'm like, let's shake it off and let's kind of see how it goes. And so she's slugging water. She's sitting on the bench. She's gathering herself. We move on. And I'm not, coach, within another 7 or 8 minutes, I have a second player raise her hand.
Oh, my gosh.
She got, and again, and actually the second player is when I really kind of thought, and this is nothing against the first player, but the second player was when I knew, okay, this is out, because she's probably
She's got thick,
hardest,
thick skin.
Yeah. Player on my team. She comes off in tears. Same thing. I can't play over there. I can't do this. And so I walk to midfield, kind of motion to the other coach. He meets me, and I say to him, hey, I need some help with your fans. And I pointed to my girls, said they're both in tears, and they both refuse to play on the parent side anymore because of your fans.
Right.
And he does a whole lot, and maybe this is just me reading into things, but he kind of gives me that to where my reaction to his response was, this wasn't the first time he's been told this.
Yeah. Oh, sure.
I'm not the first coach to say, hey, you got to say something to your fans.
Yeah.
So it's not 3 or 4 minutes later, I look over and there's a second gentleman on the sideline. And I walk over and he shakes my hand, and he is the director of their club.
Okay.
And again, we're closing in on the end of the first half, or the second half, excuse me. And the calls are still the same. I mean, it's probably, Coach, I'm not exaggerating when I give you this number. And again, I wish we had, because this is no exaggeration. We've been called for, I bet you, 17 free kicks at this point. And 10 of them
for them to have free
kicks. Yeah. And 10 of them have been in dangerous locations.
Sure. Any PKs up to this point?
No PKs.
Okay.
But 0-0.
Okay.
And again, a great game. Both teams have put balls off the crossbar. Both teams are moving the ball. There's no kickball. It is good soccer.
Is he giving you?
No, he's not giving me the time of day.
Like every call, literally every call.
I get a call here and there, but it's always, down by our own goal.
Yeah.
Or it's always, it's never in the positions that he's giving them calls.
Sure.
I would have to go back and look, but it's 17-3.
Okay.
Okay. And so, again, we're making the story really long, Coach, and I don't mean to do that, but I think it's necessary to bring us into what happens in the second game. So anyways, I say that to the coach, meet the director. He's like, hey, I'm going to handle my parents. I'm going to handle my parents. I'm going to take care of it. I apologize. Couldn't have been nicer.
Sure. Good.
So we move on. Yeah. Oh yeah, absolutely.
Good for them.
And so we move on in the second half. And now I've had to come on the field twice because now some of my players are getting hurt. There are some late tackles. There's some tackles that I would say are from behind. The center official told me they were from the side, so he's the boss. But I've had to come on the field twice at this point, and so we come on. So it's late in the game. My alarm goes off. The opposing coach's alarm goes off. So the game is over.
Okay.
And so, you're kind of waiting. Okay, he's looking for a natural stopping point. Fine. Whatever.
Okay.
Ball goes out of bounds about midfield, and he doesn't call anything. It's our throw-in. He doesn't call anything. And so, at this point, I'm just trying to get out with a draw. Hey, this has been an awful game. Yeah. Let's get out of here with a draw.
Right.
And so I tell my girl, hey, just throw it as hard as you can down to the flag. So she does it. Ball goes down. Plays around down there. Goes out of bounds. We get another throw in. I say, sir. I said, what do you have on the clock? I said, we're done. And I kind of pointed at the other coach. I said, we're done. What do you have on the clock? And he screams, I added stoppage time because your players kept getting hurt. So I'm not looked back at the rule, but I'm pretty sure adding stoppage time is not a youth soccer thing. Coach, I could be wrong. Maybe that is the referee's discretion. But adding stoppage time, I don't think is a thing in youth soccer. I mean, it's not a thing in high school soccer. It's not a thing.
Typically, they'll stop the clock.
Correct.
That is probably what he's referring to.
Maybe. And maybe he is.
Yeah.
All right. So this throw-in happens down by our flag. And, Coach, I kid you not, there are 3 fouls called. We throw the ball in, they call a foul. They throw the ball in. They call a foul at our attacking 18. Mm-hmm. So they get a free kick. They kick it up to about midfield. He calls a second foul. They get a second free kick at midfield. They kick it, goes to about the 18. He calls a third foul. And all of these fouls, Coach, are, to me, mystery fouls.
Shoulder type stuff.
My girls are spinning around and looking at me and throwing their hands out. What are we, I don't know what to do, Coach.
Yeah.
And so they line up to take this kick outside the box. And I'm not proud of this, but I looked at my girls on my bench and I said, this is going to go in. We had stopped so many. We had weathered so many free kicks. Right. I just felt it.
Yeah.
And sure enough, so they're getting ready to set up this free kick. And I go, how much time is left? Just like that. How much time is left? Just like that. He doesn't respond. They kick this kick and it goes in the back of the net. So we're down 1-0. We go. We kick it off. Boom. Whistle. Game over.
How much extra time did he give?
Probably about 4 minutes or so.
Okay.
A lot of it happened in those 3 consecutive fouls. But anyways, that's neither here nor there. So my girls are livid.
So they're clearly irritated. They're mad. Like, Coach, what was that about?
They're livid.
Did you have a conversation with that center ref at all? Or just like, you know what? Game's over. We're leaving.
My conversations were with the head coach of the club and the director of the club.
Okay.
And here's what's wild. So we have about 2.5 hours before we re-kick.
Okay.
And the director comes over, he shakes my hand, and the first words out of his mouth are, I'm sorry. I think everybody in the place knew how bad it was.
Yeah.
The head coach came over and shook my hand. I'm sorry. I hate that. The final call was like this handball that I will admit to you. I guess it was, but my center back is running. The ball bounces up, hits her like she's not outside the body. Mm-hmm. She's kind of by herself, like running down the free kick they just took. So it's not like it was a call that any other youth official lets go, and I truly believe that.
Right.
I truly believe that. But they call it, so whatever. They score. They're apologizing, so sorry. They know we're hanging out for the next 2.5 hours. I mean, so the director's like, hey, we're going to go grab some food. Can we bring you all in? You all need, like over the top nice. Weird nice.
Yeah, seriously.
And no, we're good. So we eat. The girls brought this frisbee colored game that they like to play at tournaments and stuff. They're playing that. They're sitting. So we clearly moved on.
Yeah.
And then the center referee shows back up for the second game.
And the DOC there at the
DOC. He's there.
All right.
And
I'm assuming before the game started, you didn't have any discussions with the center ref either.
Oh, no, absolutely not.
Okay.
And so my whole thing this year has been be nice to the referees. So I'm not, and so, but I do message my team manager and I say, do you see who the center is?
Uh-huh.
And she writes me back, and her response is, oh, no. And I respond, I hope you're ready, coach. because I know I'm not going to be ready to come coach.
Yeah, I got it. Except you're not set in the first game. It's the same 17-3 call thing happens again.
Well, coach, we're the first 10 minutes in, 12 minutes into the first half of our second game. And actually, I told a couple parents in between games, we'll win this game. Because I didn't know the same referee was going to show up. Oh, yeah, sure. But I was like, we'll win this game. Yeah. And coach, I'll be honest with you, this was a drastic different first half. We were dominating.
Okay.
We are pounding, we are making runs, we are pounding. I have a winger get taken, full two-hand shove taken out in the box. No call. I don't say anything. Mm-hmm. 3 minutes later, striker, other side, taken out in the box. Same kind of play, two-hand shove. They're not even making a play on the ball. It's not a tackle from behind. It is you beat me, so I'm going to shove you to the ground.
Yeah.
Both, do we score on either of them? Who knows? But it should have been 2 PKs, is the bottom line. Right. Which we do score on. And so, we should be up 2-0 in this game. Yeah. After the second one, of course, the ball goes out of bounds, and he gives them a goal kick. And at this time, now he's got parents involved. Now the sidelines are in an uproar.
On both sides?
On both sides. And so he says something to my fans. I don't know. Later on, they told me they were all told to shut up and let him call the game.
Yeah, okay.
After the second takedown. But that is hearsay. I don't, I trust my parents, but that is hearsay.
Yeah.
Anyways, after this second kick, after the second takedown, they get a goal kick, they play it in, and the smallest girl I have on my team, runs over to win the ball, runs into one of their players, and my player falls down. Whatever. I'm not asking, but he calls on and coach, I will freely admit that's when I lost my mind.
Yeah. Okay.
And I yell out and I keep yelling because he's ignored me. So now he's gonna acknowledge me. Yeah. Whether he throws me out or he gives me a yellow, whatever he wants to do, but he's going to acknowledge my voice at this point. And he does. He walks over and he, shut up, coach, you're done. And I say, no, sir, I am not done. I said, I need to know why those 2 fouls in the box, why they weren't a foul. So I'm not even saying, hey, you screwed up, you're wrong. I'm asking a question. What did you see that made you not call those 2 fouls? Right. And he just repeats, shut up, coach, you're done. Shut up, coach, you're done. And so finally I said, sir, what is your job? What is your job? And shut up, coach, you're done. I said, I'll answer for you. Your job, and by this time, he has come across the field, and he and I are 5 yards from each other. Okay. And I said, your number one job is to protect my players, and you are not doing that. This gets to the point, coach, to where the director of the other club has come over and grabbed him, put his hand across my chest, and was like, Charlie, I got it. Just walk away. And I'm like, no, I will not walk away. And so I look at this referee and say, sir, I deal with that officiating every weekend, but you are cheating. I said, you are cheating. And I kind of said it just like that. I kind of laughed as I said it because my brain could not fathom what I was watching.
Right. I
said, you are cheating. You are a cheater. And again, shut up, coach. And so at this point, I'm like, throw me out.
Did you say that out loud?
I did not.
Okay. But thinking it.
Yeah. But at this point, I'm like, all right, you know what? Just throw me out. Just toss me.
Yeah.
And he doesn't. And again, he turns around to walk away, and my lasting word to him was, protect my players.
The DSC was trying to pull you away saying, I've got it.
Yes.
What did he do?
Nothing. And
That's confusing.
Yeah, and so we play the rest of the second half, and it's more the same. Free kick after free kick from them. Luckily, at this handling the game so much, at least this time, they're happening from our end of the field, and we're able to collect and just play it back up.
Right.
But right towards the end of the first half, Coach, and again, their fans are more, my players are probably handling it a little bit better, but they have openly said, no, they're not any better.
Yeah.
And so, I'm thinking strategy. I'm like, okay, let's find that goal, and then we will park it, and we will win this game 1-0, and then we'll get the hell out of here with a win or loss. But towards the end of the first half, they play a long ball because that's all they had in the second half. So they play a long ball. My outside back is running down the field to collect it. Again, the two-hand shove up from behind, but this two-hand shove was so hard it sends my outside back airborne. So I guess for listeners, it's hard to picture, but she's running, I'm behind you, and I two-hand shove you in the back. So what happens? You flail out, right? So in her flail out, her elbow catches the players. The referee blows his whistle, surely to goodness, to call the foul for my team.
Yeah.
But who knows? But Coach, the next thing I know is 2 of the other team's fans are on the field and in the face of my player.
Unbelievable.
And at that point, the club director from the other club is sprinting across the field. I'm coming across the field.
Sure.
And just everything's gone.
Chaos now.
Yeah, it's chaos now. To the point to where I pull my team off the field. But here's the wild part. When I get there, the official is just saying to the other team's parents, hey, go sit down, go sit down, go sit down. He had no intention of throwing these people out.
Which is absurd.
I mean, the red card should have been out, and as soon as he turned and saw them on the field, it should have been whistle, card, those people are gone.
Yeah.
Now, I do think the club president was going to throw them out. I do think he was in that process. But at that point, my team's on the sideline. 90% of my players are in tears because, again, they don't know how to handle this.
Yeah.
Now, this is the stuff you see online. The other 10% of my players are like, no, coach, we're going to play. I said, no, we're not playing. Now all you want to do is fight. So as the adult in the situation, I say we're done. So never had done it before. Pull my team off of the field and say we're done. And again, there's probably halftime at this point. Who knows? But I pull my team together. We talk. I tell them my decision. Of course, their biggest thing is, well, is it going to be a law? I'm like, yeah, it might be a forfeit.
Yeah.
It might be a forfeit.
Yeah.
The opposing director comes over and says, and here's what I think really frustrates me at the end of the thing. So I walk over to the other team, the other coach, and at this point the director's not over there because he's busy on the side of the field with the fans.
Okay.
And I shake the coach's hand and I say, we're done. They're wearing white. I'm like, hey, white. It's like, fantastic game. But we're done.
Yeah.
And so I turn to walk back to my team and I'm like, hey, girl, hey, blue, bring it in. They come in, and then, coach, I look up, and I'm not kidding you, the white has come over, and, our players are hugging and high-fiving and good game, and so
oh, wow.
It's just wild. It's just wild that with them.
Yeah, right.
This was everything about a center referee who was clearly, for whatever reason, out to get. Maybe we'll find out that I taught him one day, and
on the web.
He has some vendetta against me. But no, and so actually, what's funny, and I'm sure this was on your questions to ask. One of the first things that was asked when I brought this up to our club president was the official a kid? And no, the official was a middle-aged man.
Yeah.
I mean, he was older than I am.
Oh, wow.
It wasn't like it was some 18-year-old who didn't have his bearings and didn't know how to handle a situation.
Right.
It was a guy who knew what was going on, or supposedly knew what was going on, and he royally screwed up what was otherwise, as you saw from the ending of the premature match, where girls are hugging and high-fiving. These are girls who don't know each other.
Yeah.
But they're hugging, they're high-fiving, they're good games.
Where are your parents at this point?
Some of them were kind of making their way over to the field.
Okay. And they were like, we're ready to go.
Oh, no, yeah. Like, if we would have played that second half, I would have lost 4 or 5 players.
Well, you probably would have been thrown out.
Well, that is awesome.
But that game was going. It was inevitable, it sounds like.
Yeah, and so, Coach, to finish my nightmare, and this is when I thought, of course, I kind of thought in the back of my mind the whole time, this guy is cheating. You know, as I clearly made that clear to him. Coach, let me just pose this at you, and I don't know, you and I don't think I've ever talked about this, but I don't know if you've ever officiated soccer, but and if you are listening and you're an official, just let me pose this question out loud, and then I'll let you answer it, and I'll tell you how it went down. So you've just had this instance occur on the field. Mm-hmm. A team has said, hey, we're leaving. We're done. You're the center of this match. So everybody's packing up. Everybody's left the building. Already a high, intense, high emotional moment. Where would you position yourself as the official?
I'm probably gathering my things and leaving as well.
Well, he goes, and this gentleman goes and stands about a quarter of the way from the field to the parking lot, knowing that we're all going to have to walk by him, and he stands with his arms across his chest, just staring. And of course, what happens? My parents start jawing. People start going. It was a young girl say, Mr. Official, thank you for calling that game. It was out of control. And his response is, I didn't call the game. The coaches quit.
What?
That is his response. And so, again, that's when I kind of lost it. I said, why are you here? Go away. Go stand off to the side, play, clear off, and then you can come and celebrate your victory.
Yeah.
But I don't know, Coach, I've never been a part of anything like that in my career where and as I mentioned, about officiating, or officiating felt was bad or one-sided. Everybody has those stories. But this was the first time that I truly thought, for whatever reason, and only this guy knows, the blue team was being cheated.
Well, I've dealt with something semi-similar to this, except my ref was a kid at the time, mid-teenager, and he ended up, I think his younger brother was on the team that he was refereeing. So I'm wondering if that guy, his grandson or his nephew was playing on that team, and maybe he knew his parents as well. But I think what irritates me the most is the DOC didn't step in and be like, hey, you need to get this squared away or I'm sending you home.
Yeah.
And you're not going to ref any more of this club's teams ever again.
And I have, of course, clearly been in great contact with both the head coach and the DOC since this event happened last weekend, and they've been nothing but helpful. We have filed our official complaint. We're still waiting on word from that, and at this point, despite how I feel about it, we are accepting that first loss. Fine, we got beat 1-0, whatever. We're just asking that second game be either written as a draw or written as a no contest, and we just move on. We're waiting on the KSSL to make that decision. Like I said, I have statements from the DOC from the other club. I have statements from the head coach from the other club. I have parent statements. So I feel like we have a really good case. I feel like KSSL will do the right thing and just make it a no contest.
Right.
and we'll move on. But I will definitely keep you updated.
Ladies and gentlemen, this has been Coach Hamilton's Coach Nightmare from this past weekend. I think as any coach, we have all dealt with odd situations, often on the field, either with a ref, a parent, another coach. If you got any stories, throw something at us on Facebook, Ace Football Academy, or on X, Ace_football. We would love to hear from you. We are the Ace Football Academy. I am Coach Dunham. This is Coach Hamilton. Go kick some ice.